Gerri McCritty from Power Gallery here at LCTV, Channel 66, downtown Lancaster. Today we're going to be interviewing who I believe is an awesome brother who does awesome work in this Lancaster community on our show Shining a Light. And his name is Mr. Leni Sloan. Hi, Lenwood.
It's great to be with you, Gerri. I always have new energy when I leave your presence.
Awesome. So today I just would like for you to please share a little bit about yourself, a little bit on your background with our viewers, and what is it you do?
Well, anyone who communicates with me knows that my email address for the last 50 years, now I've given away how old I am, has been catalytic agents.
Okay.
And I am a catalyst for arts and humanity and civic engagement in the community, in the boardroom, in the studio, and in the streets.
Wow. So. And you've made quite an impact in this community on that level with the work you do. Mostly, are you based here in Lancaster or in the whole Harrisburg, Lancaster? Where's the whole of your work?
The whole of my work is Pennsylvania.
Okay.
I am the executive director also of the International Institute for Peace Through Tourism, and IIPT renovates historic markers, repairs and restores statues in public places, and generates public arts programs.
Okay.
In Lancaster, I was the chair for 4 years of the Public Arts Advisory Board that dealt with art in public places. So my work is really about not only changing the attitude about history and the arts, but changing the landscape that we live in through direct engagement with communities, building monuments, repairing parks, putting streetlights in, renovating buildings.
And this is in the whole of the PA.
Yes. So we're IIPT is an international organization that was started by UNESCO 35 years ago. It's now their idea was to have peace parks in 24 time zones, 100 peace parks in 24 time zones. So Harrisburg as capital and a city, a county, and a commonwealth site was designated as a peace park, and we restored the old 8th Ward, which was demolished by eminent domain through the City Beautiful. So our idea was we can't. It now is the Capitol lawn. So so we recovered a spot on the Capitol lawn where Frederick Douglass spoke.
Oh wow!
And we placed a monument there to the 14th, 15th, and 19th Amendments.
Wow.
You know, so
that's deep.
Yeah. When the movement with removing Confederate monuments, we said every place that they take down a Confederate monument, we're going to put up a new monument with the community that is more reflective of.
How was that? I mean,
it was a roller coaster. We were designated in 2017 Pennsylvania's capital. I was appointed by the Wolf administration, but I had worked with the Rendell administration as their art in public places.
Okay.
The projects are 5 years, 8-year projects. The administration changes every 4.
Okay.
So you know you have this. My children tell me not to use the title "gun runner for the arts." You know, that's you don't want to put that in this on a card, but
right.
That's kind of what I am.
Okay. So now I know you've got. That's where I know you from, doing work at the way station. Talk about a little bit about that. Is that still going on? How's that working out?
This is a very interesting thing. Stacy Blake, who is the executive director of the YWCA, and her husband, Tony,
Yeah.
were at dinner with me one evening, and they said, we want to do something for artists.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
now the honest story is Tony said, I'm going to give you this money, and I'd like you to give it to some artists that really need to be shown a way out of their studios and out of their solitary places and into public places.
Yeah.
First I said, no, you can't give me this money. no, we can sell
What?
it.
You turned away the money?
No, I did not turn away the
No,
money.
you
I
just
asked
didn't.
Stacy if she would be the fiscal agent for the money so it could be given out, right? You know, and we because Lancaster is known for its underground railroad, we took the metaphor that these artists were freedom seekers. They were seeking the freedom to do their work, and if we could show them a way by having conductors help them find places, safe houses to work in and to show their work, then they would emerge into the freedom of expression. So the way station became a metaphor for finding solo artists and independent artists. At the end of the second year, and that's where I met you, and you did your incredible project with the boxes, which blew my mind about the notion of people being in boxes and the boxes changing size.
Still are in boxes.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Well, at the end, in every evaluation, the artist said the best part of this was us meeting each other and collaborating. So we came up with the notion of the performance lab, in which we would work with 25 artists in all performing arts disciplines, from actors and musicians to set designers and lighting designers. Give them a comprehensive engagement. Like I said, to set the table, for them all to come and bring their. I'm a New Orleanian, so we making gumbo, and everybody's going to bring something to the gumbo. We chose the Tear Jar project, or it chose us, really. Tear Jar was a very successful concert, and I was commissioned to take the album and turn it into a blues opera.
Wow.
And so it gave us an opportunity in a 9 months residency, which is tonight is a very important night where we show our work to the audience.
Which brings me to my next question. Share a little bit more about the Tear Jar. Where did you draw this inspiration from? It's just awesome. I mean, just working with you for the past couple of weeks with this is like, whoa, where did this come from?
Well, the Tear Jar is a vessel in many cultures, from Greek culture and Roman culture to African culture to Native American. You collect the tears, in this jar, and you use the tears for healing. Widows would carry tear jars.
Like in real life, you take a jar and collect it.
You collect the tears, and those tears can be used to wash away pain, to magnify glory, to celebrate a new life, or to pour libation. The jar should never be empty.
Okay.
So Bob Welsh and Chris Bravicos and Jerry Musser wrote an album called Tear Jar. It had 19 songs on it. The songs were brilliant, but they were for a solo voice with like a trio of ladies behind them.
Yeah.
And the first thing I had to do was to deconstruct the album and reconstruct a libretto. And we worked with the Ware Center in their studio to do that in October through December. Then the next stage was to bring an ensemble of 8 singers and 5 musicians together to see if it worked.
Okay.
You know, and to
Yeah.
build the production values of it. And
Yeah.
starting tonight, we will tour it through 4 different venues and 4 different audiences: the TELUS 360 audience, the library's audience, the Ware's audience, and the YWCA's audience, to get different aspects. It takes
Gotcha.
place in Mississippi
Gotcha.
in 1975 in the Blues Roadhouse.
Okay.
And traveling musician stops there for the winter, and there's tears of joy and tears of sorrow and tears of anger, and
Wow.
he collects the
So
tears.
was this like you said, it takes place in Mississippi? So was this something that really went on? Is this based on truth back in the day? In
Well, the Roadhouse. So for black blues musicians, there was a touring network
Okay.
called the TOBA.
Okay.
It stands for Theater Owners Booking Association.
Okay.
But African Americans called it Tough on Black Actors.
Okay.
Because, you know, it was
Yeah.
like the roadside houses in a
Right.
segregated system.
Yeah.
You know, so this is 1975 in Mississippi,
Yeah.
where everyone is embracing the sound of the people, but not the people themselves. And this is where the struggle of, race and culture
Yeah.
come in.
Yeah.
It's a little bit muddy waters, a little bit lead belly, you know.
Yeah. So, where did you draw all of this from over the years? Were you gifted with all of this multi-talent within you? How was this? I mean, manifested into what we see today, which is huge.
I am blessed and highly favored. It's taken me a long time to actually realize it, you know, but I am blessed and highly favored. So I had the opportunity to go to Temple University for theater, and to Lincoln Center's directing lab at Juilliard, and
Nice.
to perfect my craft as well as my vision. And I try to bring vision, craft, and community together.
Yeah.
The story about making it in an alternative network, it's a story that's universal, so it fits. And the isolation that people get into in their own blues. So this story is about Mississippi, but it's really about any community thriving and striving.
I was just going to ask you how much of you is in this story.
The story, the core narrative is really about the composer Bob Welsh, who actually was a blue-eyed bluesman, and often traveling as the only white man with an all-black company. You know, so moving through the South. He was allowed to stay in some places. The rest of the band had to stay in others.
Okay.
So he wrote the songs from that experience of a traveling blues man. I had to take like songs for the trio
Okay.
and break the 3 ladies apart and give them each a character and a nuance. And so I created Sadie, Shy, and Marva. You know, Marva's my sister.
So
you know?
you created that?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was only written for solo voice and trio backup singers. So we really had to deconstruct. The first thing we had to do is figure out where are these people from. So we opened up a map of Mississippi. The 8 characters are from 8 different places in Mississippi. We found a town that actually existed that had a roadhouse that was on a route, you know, on the TOBA route, and we began to construct it as a historical narrative.
Wow. Wow. So today you're gonna be performing. Talk a little bit about that at Tell Us 360, and it's free.
Yes, it is. So phase one of the project was to deconstruct the album and construct a libretto and a score.
Okay.
Phase two was to set it on an ensemble of 8 singers and produce, set the piece on its feet. Tonight we start adding production values to it. Lighting, the set is a graphic comic book that is projected so we've been working with young artists from PCAD, from F&M on the graphic. They've been mentored by the brilliant Adam Serrano.
Okay.
The characters were taken to the Millersville University costume shop and immersed into, don't just wear a costume, find yourself in this collection, build your character. And so it's been an opportunity. Our last session will actually be going out at Mickey's Black Box and at Rocklids and learning how to work with that mic so that you're not eating it, you know. Things that we don't usually get a chance to experience if we're not in an academic or academy kind of place.
Okay. And I would like to ask you to word of advice for anyone of our viewers who are looking to do what you're doing. Step into Leni Sloan's kind of shoes. Yeah. Because they're out there. You're admired.
So I think I like to think of myself as glue.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
So if the glue job is done right, the glue should never show.
Wow.
You know,
it should never show.
It should never show. It's only if the glue shows, then you didn't do it right.
Wow.
You know, and so it's not about you.
Yeah.
It's about holding the pieces together, being the catalyst, making the change. Through you, not from you.
Yeah.
I think that our attitude gets in the way of our vision, and everybody wants to be a star without working for it.
Yes.
So I would say, if anybody work, I have a work ethic.
Yeah.
You know. I always say I'm a gentleman, but I'm a workhorse.
Yeah.
So do your work. Do your work.
Do your work.
Do your work.
You gotta crawl before you walk in this life. Do your work. Yeah. Leni Sloan, thank you so much.
Thank you very much,
Gerri McCritty here from Private Gallery on Channel 66, and you're watching Shining a Light. Thank you.
Thank you very much.